indefatigable national organizer, as usual, will be presenting to us this morning. So without much ado, I humbly invite Lawyer Henry Nanabuache, aka Nanabi, the hard-working national organizer of New Patriotic Party, to engage us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother Krobia. Let me also acknowledge the presence of the Deputy General Secretary, and also one of our brilliant young lawyers who is doing so well for us, Kwesi Butchie Esquire, and all national officers present. I acknowledge your presence. Good morning to you all. Before I start, let me also say that last week we invited all of you to cover the well-attended, the mammoth demonstration, Save the Judiciary demonstration. It was very, very successful, well-attended, well-organized. The message was loud, clear. We sent petitions to the judiciary, the legislature, which is parliament, and then to the presidency. You all saw how thousands, hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians registered their displeasure against the political attack on our democracy and then the judiciary. So we thank you very much for covering. And then hopefully you'll be hearing from us. We'll be announcing a series of events to take place. Once again, good morning, members of the media. Greetings to you all, well-meaning Ghanaians across the length and breadth of our beloved country. We thank you for honoring our invitation at such short notice. The New Patriotic Party, as a responsible political party, deems it necessary to speak out on critical matters in our democratic journey, not only to expose the truth behind the National Democratic Congress deceptive politics, but also to assure the people of Ghana that we remain committed to progress, unity, prosperity of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, today we are going to have a discussion on three important issues. First of all, we are aware that His Excellency the President outdoored the well-publicized code of conduct for his appointees. Flowing from that, we've had some incidences. We'll be discussing that. And that will be the Sammy Gyamfi Agradaa scandal, and then also the A+ Attorney General scandal, and then other matters will also follow. Ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday, 10th May 2025, the National Communications Officer of the NDC, who is also the acting CEO of Gold Board, was seen in a widely circulated video doling out fresh United States dollars notes to a known controversial figure, Evangelist Patricia Odro, aka Nana Agradaa. The act, which has been condemned, and rightly so, by well-meaning Ghanaians and institutions, including international bodies and other CSOs, like the Transparency International, is a patent indiscretion which breaches several laws of the land, and more importantly, mocks and makes nonsensical the recently enacted Code of Conduct by President Mahama. Among the several laws breached by the National Communications Officer and the acting CEO of Gold Board are the Foreign Exchange Act, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and then also the Code of Conduct, which was outdoored by His Excellency the President just about a week ago, exactly a week ago. Among the several laws breached by Sammy Gyamfi are Section 3, 1, and 4 of the Foreign Exchange Act, Act 723, which prohibits a person engaging in the business of dealing in foreign exchange without a license issued under the Act. Dealing in foreign exchange under the Act includes the receipt or payment of foreign currency, which Sammy Gyamfi is seen to have been doing in the video. The law, in its letter and spirit, prohibits stacking of dollars as it maintains the Ghana cedi as the sole legal tender. The cedi is the sole legal tender. We don't have multiple legal tenders in Ghana. You would recall that the Bank of Ghana has, over the years, issued several notices cautioning that without an authorization from the Bank of Ghana, no person is permitted to advertise, price, pocket, receive, gift, make payment of goods and services in foreign exchange, including United States dollars. And this action by the Bank of Ghana is important because it helps in stabilizing our city. The penalty for such violation includes a fine or imprisonment up to 18 months. Exactly a week ago, President Mahama unveiled the code of conduct for his appointees, and the president is reported to have said that the code of conduct articulates the core values his administration expects from appointees. Please pay attention. The core values his administration expects from his appointees: integrity, honesty, impartiality, respect, decency, incorrigibility, competence, and professionalism. The president further stressed that all conduct must meet standards capable of withstanding closest public scrutiny. Section 1.2 of the code, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is required to manage his personal affairs in a manner that withstands the closest public scrutiny. And under Section 1.3, he was to take responsible care to maintain the integrity and reputation of the office he holds. Unsurprisingly, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, like an incorrigible child, has blatantly violated both obligations under the code, and the president must, in accordance with Section 6 of his pledge, at page 9 of the code, deal swiftly and decisively with Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. It's important. The president launched this code. As I mentioned earlier, it was well publicized. It received a lot of commendation from so many people. Now, a week or just less than a week, this happens where his own appointee is seen displaying opulence. We find ourselves in a very distressed situation. And yet, if you have your appointee who is doling out dollars, that is serious. And we call on the president. If the president is unable to act on this matter, then the code of conduct must be shredded. It's of no use. It's useless. If the president is unable to act on this matter, ladies and gentlemen, the irony of the present circumstance is that not only was Mr. Sammy Gyamfi a loud critic of Honorable Cecilia Dapa for some months ago, but he was equally very critical of her ladyship, Justice Tokuno, few weeks ago because the judicial service paid for tickets in dollars, although this was the required currency transaction in such matters and also well situated within the travel policy of the judicial service. We say without fear of contradiction that in the absence of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi providing direct evidence of the source of funding thousands of United States dollars found in his car. Seen in the video widely circulated on social media, these funds are proceeds of unlawful or criminal enterprise by Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. Section 1 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Act 1044, makes the possession, concealment, conversion, disguise, or transfer that is or forms part of an unlawful activity an offense punishable by a term of imprisonment or up to 10 years. Do not forget that this is the same section, the same provision Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, the same provision he used in criticizing Madame Cecilia Dapa, and he says that it was clear. This is the same provision. We call on the lawful establishment investigative agencies of state, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and the Criminal Investigation Department, CID of Ghana Police, to investigate the activities of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi in his short tenure as acting chief executive officer. And again, you are being told that all appointees, including ministers, they have not even received their salary since they had the appointment. All of them. That is the information we have. To investigate the activities of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi in a short tenure as acting chief executive officer of both PMMMC and the Ghana Gold Board. These bodies must search all his houses, probe any properties acquired in his stay so far in government, and if possible, prosecute him for failure to show the source of huge sums of money found in his possession, out of which he gleefully sprayed some around. And we all saw the video. We all saw the video and how he counted the dollars as if it was a counting machine. Very, very fast. And afterwards, and you could saw where he even picked the money from. You could see that, yes, you have a lot of it stacked in there. And then how he gleefully was counting the money to Madame Agradaa. And then Madame Agradaa also, out of insufficient spirit, grabbed all. Obviously, she saw that there were a lot of dollars stacked in there. So that is how come she could again grab all the dollars. And this is a serious matter. We note that section 55(2) of Act 1044 stipulates that in a trial for an offense under the Act, an accused person, in this case, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, may be presumed to have unlawfully acquired a property if the accused person is in possession of a property which the accused person cannot account for and which is disproportionate to a known source of income of the accused person. Note that he has not taken any salary since his appointment. So clearly, the money he doled out obviously is disproportionate to his income. We also call on the President to immediately interdict Mr. Sammy Gyamfi as an acting chief executive officer of Ghana Gold Board. Or at least, he should interdict him pending the conduct of the investigation by the criminal investigative authorities of the state. We cannot but remember when huge sums of money, and this is the principle here, please let's pay attention. We cannot but remember that when huge sums of money was reported to have been stolen from the residence of Madame Cecilia Dapa, a woman who had worked in high places for over 40 years before the incident, had been NP since 2001, as well as a deputy minister and also a minister. And she is married to a well-known rich architect and a consultant, well-known, with nearly 60 years experience in the profession. She was made to resign. This principle is cardinal. Under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a similar issue happened. Madame Cecilia Dapaah was made to resign immediately by the president. Investigations were duly conducted by the OSP against Madame Cecilia Dapaah and her husband. After what the OSP described as 7 months of extensive investigation and 4 months of collaborative investigation, it concluded that their investigation did not establish any evidence of corruption, corruption-related offenses, or procurement breaches against the suspect. We require the same standard to be applied here. Same standard to be applied here. And let me also say that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi again is on record on several TV programs during the Madame Cecilia Dapaah saga, and I quote him, "Once money is found in your custody and you cannot account for the money, and that money is disproportionate to your income, you shall be deemed to have committed the offense of money laundering." Madame Cecilia Dapaah resigned during the whole brouhaha, as I said, and again we require the same principle to be applied. Again, on the matter of Her Ladyship Chief Justice Tokuno, in an interview with Asempa FM Okusisen, he stated that the Chief Justice should be sacked for using state funds in dollars in her medium of exchange instead of the Ghana cedis, which is exactly the same act he engaged in last Saturday. Per his own assertions, then it means he must be sacked. That is exactly what he said. And these are principles. And this is his own sword. And he must. He must be on his own sword. Even more ironical is the fact that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi presently heads the Gold Board. This is very important matter, and this is issue of governance, which is being touted by this government as being the backbone for the stabilization of the city through the maintenance of sufficient gold reserves. Do not forget that the establishment of the Gold Board, one of the arguments for the establishment of the Gold Board was to centralize all businesses, all dealings regarding gold, to stabilize the city. This argument was made widely. If Mr. Gyamfi, the CEO who is responsible for maintaining sufficient reserves to support, to help, and to prevent the depreciation of the city, to stabilize the city, possesses dollars in his daily routine. And we say daily routine because when you go for a funeral 1 week and you have dollars packed in your car, then the indications are that that is your modus operandi in terms of spending. That is how you spend. That is the money you use. Because if you are just going for 1 week and you have tens of thousands of dollars in your car. Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, again, then clearly he has no confidence in our city. And if you are superintending over an institution which as part of its mandate, is to help stabilize the city. That is the only legal tender, and I've already mentioned that. And if you have the head who superintends over this institution, doling out dollars instead of the city, then it means that the person or the CEO, acting CEO, lacks confidence in the Ghanaian city. And that is key. And that is the more reason why we are of the view, the New Patriotic Party, and I speak for the party, we are of the view that if he is unable to stand firm, if he is unable to defend the city, if he is unable to protect the city, and he will rather be displaying dollars, then it means he cannot superintend over the same institution seeking to stabilize the city with gold reserves. But let me also state on record that under the gold purchasing program of the New Patriotic Party, our gold reserves as a country, which stood at 8.7 tons, for the last 40 to 50 years, grew to about 30.53 tons as at the fourth quarter of 2024. This program is one of the major reasons why we are seeing the appreciation of the city. Again, yesterday, the minority in Parliament also had a press conference where they also mentioned the allowances, the salaries of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, referencing the minority press conference yesterday. The state cannot be paying Mr. Gyamfi hefty salaries and allowances for him to be undermining the very currency which is at the heart of his mandate. The state provides the following for Mr. Gyamfi: a gross basic salary annually 1.5 million, subject to an annual review and upward adjustment of 15%. 1.5 million a year. Hold on, that is not the only amount. Hold on. Let's go step by step. Hold on. Clothing allowance of 15% of annual salary, payable once per annum by year end. So the 15 million I just mentioned, he is entitled to clothing allowance of 15% of his annual salary. So he's entitled to 15% of 1.5 million, which is supposed to be his clothing allowance. Hold on. Travel with me. Hold on. Provision of 2 security officers or 6,000 each officer as an equivalent. 1 gardener or 4,000 Ghana cedis as a cash equivalent. Full medical cover for him, his spouse, and up to 5 children. Provision of 2 cars with full maintenance and insurance. Fuel allocation of 1,005 liters of fuel monthly. Fuel allocation, do your own mathematics, 1,005 liters of fuel monthly for each official vehicle. The official vehicle may be sold to Mr. Gyamfi upon contract expiration or termination per the company's asset disposal policy. 30 working days of paid vacation annually. 30 working days of paid vacation annually, exclusive of public holidays. So anywhere in the world, if he decides to go to Bahamas, if he decides to go to wherever, if he decides to go there, the state is responsible to pay fully all the expenses for this vacation. Airfare up to $10,000 upon proof of per diem, per diem of USD $2,000 a day. So if he travels for 30 days, it means he's going to receive $2,000 a day for 7 days, payable in advance for annual familiarization tour. Business class travel tickets for official duties and $2,000 per diem per day of travel. Annual performance bonus subject to set targets and in accordance to the company's bonus policy. An unspecified CEO-related benefit shall be paid at the prevailing CEO's rate plus 20%. Personal accident and life insurance cover valued at 5 times the CEO's annual salary. Somebody said A. Let me repeat. Personal accident and life insurance cover valued at 5 times the CEO's annual salary. The annual salary is what? 1.5 million. It is palpable, unethical, and a complete betrayal of the public trust for Mr. Sammy Gyamfi to receive all these benefits on the back of helping maintaining a steady currency, yet fail to have any iota of confidence in the Ghana cedi to the extent of using United States dollars as his currency of daily use. Ladies and gentlemen, it may have escaped many observers of this unfortunate incident, but not only, and this is an important aspect, not only was Mr. Sammy Gyamfi giving out United States dollars without restraint, but Mr. Gyamfi also engaged in patent opulence on ostentation of just after 120 days in government. On the day in question, Mr. Gyamfi was being driven in a 2025 fully spec'd Range Rover autobiography valued at $350,000. Fresh, it was fresh Range Rover autobiography, fresh, tear rubber, fully spec'd autobiography, Range Rover, 2025 model, $350,000. The question that should engage the minds of well-meaning Ghanaians and how Mr. Sammy Gyamfi can afford all these things under 120 days of being in government, and if they are gift, who are these persons gifting him, and what relationship do they have to his work as CEO? If within 120 days in office, appointees of Mr. Mahama have become culpable of such opulence and ostentation, then the years ahead will be indeed a telling story. Already, there is a loud cloud of corruption hanging around President Mahama's appointee. Following the indictment of Dr. Ayene, his Attorney General, as involved in corrupt activities, Article 88 of the Constitution is very clear. And I'll come back again to Sammy. But just about some few weeks ago, the Attorney General was accused of being a thief and being a corrupt person. In his defense, he said that A+ is saying so because he went for some monies from a certain businessman called Dr. Sledge. And that is why A+ is saying so. Now, A+ comes back, says that no, that is not what I'm referring to. I am referring to the 500,000 Ghana cedis. He's specific. He has mentioned the amount. I am referring to the 500,000 Ghana cedis you went for. And the reason for this money was to go and bribe the appointment committee of parliament, because you were appearing before the appointment committee. Now, he goes on to say that He is a stupid fool, and he will reset his mind. Again, when the Attorney General attempted to respond, he says that A+ should not go there, and if A+ wants us to play in the mud, in the dirt, he is prepared. He can dirty himself. He can play in the mud, because where he comes from, they have been playing in the mud. So as for mud, he's not afraid of mud. Who says we want our Attorney General to be playing in the mud? Who? Who said? And you see, that is why I brought this constitution. In fact, the only minister with an elaborate mandate captured in the constitution is the Attorney General. Article 88 is clear. And indulge me. There shall be an Attorney General of Ghana who shall be the Minister of State and the principal legal advisor to the government. The Attorney General shall discharge such other duties of legal nature as may be referred to or assigned to him by the President or imposed on him by this Constitution or any other law. 3. The Attorney General shall be responsible for all the initiation and conduct, of all prosecutions of criminal offenses. All offenses prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana shall be at the suit of the Attorney General or any other person authorized by him in accordance with any law. 5. The Attorney General shall be responsible for institution and conduct of all civil cases on behalf of the state, and all civil proceedings against the state shall be instituted against the Attorney General as a defendant. 6 and final. The Attorney General shall have audience in all courts in Ghana. So if you have your Attorney General who is unable to respond to such serious allegations, he is unable to respond to these allegations well, but then he says that, first of all, he's been advised to proceed to court, but then he will not do so because he's been given a mandate by the president. He wants to concentrate. I found that weird. Look, in your daily practice, you always go to court. If somebody says you are a thief, you are corrupt, you have gone for 500,000 Ghana cedis to bribe appointment committee so that you can sail through vetting, and the person says that you are a stupid fool and is going to reset your mind, and you are telling Ghanaians that you are not going to go to court, you will not proceed to court. Why? Because you are focusing on your work. Meanwhile, court is where you live, is where you sleep, is your home. So, is it not scary? Is it not scandalous that Attorney General says that a member of his own majority caucus, an MP, not just anybody like me and you, an MP says that you are a thief, you are corrupt, you have gone for 500,000 Ghana cedis, and all you can say is that you can play in the mud. As for you, you can swim in the mud. So A+ should bring it on. And then you are rather inviting us to ask A+ what he knows about the NSS scandal. What is our business? Is that supposed to be our business? You have the prosecutorial powers. You are the man in charge. And you are telling us to go and ask A+ what he knows about the NSS scandal. Look, this is below the belt. And as I've just read to you, for an Attorney General to be saying that I can play in the mud, and we are being told that A+ just apologized. So what now? It is going to be an apology spree. People commit offense, and they are told to apologize, and that be it. So now we are going to live in a nation of apology. Everything is apology. So A+ apologizes, and then Sammy also apologizes, and then we leave it there. No. It's important for us to hold these appointees to account for their actions. Attorney General, you cannot say that you want to play in the mud. We do not want an Attorney General to dirty himself. No, that is not what we want. And again, we expect His Excellency the President not to sweep this under the carpet. These are serious allegations. And all we see is that Epla goes back to pull down the post and he's made to apologize, and that is it. Mr. President is being put to the test on his commitment to the very values he sought to espouse exactly a week ago when he outdoored the code of conduct. The entire world is waiting with bated breath on further actions by President Mahama, considering the actions of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi and the Attorney General, who says that I want to play in the mud, I want to dirty myself. We want to see some action from President Mahama. We call on the President to show leadership, to act swiftly, decisively, and not to give Mr. Gyamfi and the Attorney General a pat on their backs for this reckless conduct. It is crucial to underscore the necessity of adherence to governance practice in line with constitutional and legal provisions. And this is an issue I really want to raise with you, and follow me on this. That guide the conduct of public officers in Ghana. You recall that in 2017, former President Akufo-Addo, through the National Executive Committee of the New Patriotic Party, issued a directive mandating that all party officials who had been appointed to governmental positions by President Akufo-Addo must resign from their political party roles in adherence to best practices in governance and accountability. So if you recall, even our current General Secretary, he was the then Ashanti Regional Youth Organizer. When he was appointed CEO, he resigned. A whole lot of ministers, Tutuko Afisa Jaba was a National Women Organizer. She also resigned. Mr. Mewu from Volta Region resigned. Of blessed memory, Honorable Ashiti, Greater Agradaa Minister, also resigned. Honorable Ajay as Mayor also resigned. The names, a lot, they resigned. Today, what do we see? It is important to note that a similar practice does not appear to have followed under the current National Democratic Congress. Several individuals, while holding influential governmental positions, continue to hold dual roles that may pose concern in terms of governance practice, legal stipulations, and ethical standards. Specifically, the following individuals remain in both political and public office, raising critical issues about potential conflict of interest and the need for compliance with relevant legal norms. The National Youth Organizer of the NDC, George Opare Addo, is a minister now. He's still the National Youth Organizer. Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is the National Communications Officer. He has not resigned. And he's still their communications officer. Basintali is still the deputy communications, and Abisu, who is with the Minerals Investment Fund, is also still there. Osman Ayarega is also at post. Meanwhile, he's an NCA. Ruth Sedo is with the NSS. He's still holding on to his post. Mustafa Gbande is at the office of the presidency. He's still holding on to his post. Elikem Kotoko is now the deputy CEO for Forestry Commission. Dr. Omane Boama, he's the defense minister. He was in charge of the elections. He's not resigned. I recall that even when I was elected as a National Youth Organizer, I resigned from deputy executive director of NSS. Also, all regional and constituency executives who have been appointed into key government positions are still at post. You go to Ashanti region, their regional secretary is the regional minister, he's still at post. You go to Eastern region, I think the women organizer also was their women organizer, and today he's still at post. The retention of these dual roles by political appointees under the NDC administration raises significant legal concerns regarding the Constitution of Ghana, particularly Article 94, which disqualifies a person from being appointed a member of parliament or a public officer if they hold dual offices that are inconsistent with the principles of public service. Furthermore, Section 2, this is more important, Section 2 of the Public Services Act prohibits public officers from engaging in business or holding any other positions that might undermine their impartiality and efficiency in their official capacities. The continued holding of political appointments alongside public office positions undermines the principle of neutrality in public service, and these individuals remain bound by their party loyalties, which could affect their objectivity and ability to serve the state effectively. In the light of all these considerations, it is imperative for the government to reassess the position of individuals holding dual appointment and ensure that the requisite legal framework are strictly adhered to. The principle of separation of powers between political and public roles is not just a matter of legal compliance, but is central to maintaining public trust, ensuring the integrity of state institutions, and upholding the principles of good governance. We urge His Excellency the President to take immediate steps to rectify the situation by ensuring that all political party holders who have been appointed to public office, especially those holding political positions, comply with the relevant provisions, and also, as we said, because of good governance principles, they must resign. The clear delineation of political roles and governmental functions will reinforce the credibility of the administration and strengthen public confidence in the democratic process. We thank you very much for coming, and we hope that we'll be engaging you we are waiting for the outcome of His Excellency the President. Now, Mame Mwone Tofa Ewo Chi. Abusuanfo beda mo ase. Enese ye frɛ mo baya, edi kan ye beda mo nyama se na no demonstration a mo nyina mo gina mu ma ye ma no ye kama no. Ekoye ye beda mo ase. Enche bia no ye bekoso abodahuro afa enema bi ni anamontu a ye ba bitu ho. Na ene adetitru nti a ye hia wo ha efa amamuo ho. Encha na ye wura Mahama ede krata ba ya watu din eye code of conduct. Code of conduct na siche nyina ne se eye krata wakuchiri. Se ne be ya eye omo a wapa omo so mbe ye adwuma o na ban mu no. Omo di ebe ye adwuma na ama amamuo no ayefe. Eni na wotwe kra. Ena ye hu se the National Communications Officer of the NDC, NIBM, acting CEO, Good Board. Wako a year say no. Wayi a year Bronisika $CB. Or diama mame Agradaa. Now here's the canon send an OC kind of baby in Agradaa as I shim Yaka in Asa Kahon. Now near one say. Sir, a young National Communications Officer of the party was acting Gold Board CEO. Yera Mahama. And somewhere down Kofano mo Kenya and say, Enya dia won sa ubetime dia kan eya branche san say oyo golden boy. Untimi nya ho hwe. Untimi nya bibia na kasa kwa. If as all social media so asema mo kan no. Nanso no ade a waye no ya ade a e kire eye ahokyira Ghana for fam ene enema bo akosoro na wo hwe obi ono no hwe gold board so na wayi sika dosopuo dollars na odi ache ano hye etietia Ghana mra o code of conduct na ankasa o de baahe no ebu nanimtia se opani mahama anye ho bibia ye kira ne se eye o code of conduct na de baahe ne se bia kra ta keke emunye du ebe ye mframa o kasa keke na menyin ni se sa na apese wo mamu no esiko no na ebia sipen eya abrante Sammy Gyamfi kuro ye ebra ma Mrs Ladapa asemba ya yesi yakwako hu sika bi woni fie abrante ya ne kan se ma me yenyini firi ho yewura Akufuado out of good governance amamuo a opese mu dan fine ti no oma oba pani ogina djuma firi ne nsema na so ma ne resign ye ne ye kan se na no bi se ye de sa aba no bo tachi a yesi ye nei yemfanya dai yemfa boba wei eye ni tie se esi dan na obi a yenya ntua ne ka o na enei ono watimi enya dollars dosopuo se wo hwe kwan so ofa so yi dollar na wotimu se bebregu ho pa na usa hwe ebiem ka na otimu a ode koye na no ana yero Muhammad kasa okan bibi se na point is no they should eschew opulence and ostentation ye chenya ne se akesesem se ye disika kire on pese na point is ni be sa ene isa wo hwe ka na yewura Sammy Gyamfi kura dem 2025 Range Rover autobiography fully spec $350,000 ana otim no de ko ye keke se wo hwe ye Ghana ye mramu o hwe the Foreign Exchange Act o hwe the Anti-Money Laundering Act ne ye kan se akutia ebiem se wo hwe eniema kese a akatua kra ye de ma ne ya ne se eye gold ya ye ka ho asemu nyina ne ye de gold board abai ni dwumadi kese ba akopa aban me ate ase ne se e baba be so ye sidinim ebe ma ye sidina ye de agina na opani a ono no wo gold board na o hwe se ye sidini be gina no onje ye sidini ndi $80 na o ye dey o che. And this is serious lack of confidence in our city. Chese wama yen yesika na yedie no emu gidie die watono asawram obuna nimtia onfa nya hwe yen yesika yedie a eno ne yesi bra bebo ho ban na nke nei entimi nyina no wo ba wo de sid nanim nyam atwitwi fom eno ne ade ana wonso nyese sabe wo ye obi akeke o sabe nko obi akeka enuafo nka ye mfre nsentrofo dwumadie eye Ghana ban sa wo hwe eye aketua kra na mo se ye metua ne kana ano hye eye afimu bia no obeje 1.5 million Ghana cedis titisika no 15 billion ena obeje uye no free man na no so kwa no ye sa timitum ohamu nchichemu edunum utimitum after every 2 years bia no utimi esakire mu entade obehye me no mienu de a ye hye kama entade obehye no ono no de no aban ye fa ho ka 15% of the annual salary into your calculation now 150,000 Ghana cedis de ban say on fanton tade na sabi watade e show wo kwa to ne say atade e show wo to ne say and na yetwa 150,000 and for more kwabrane say on fanton tade nche any shoes enche ni security for yetuaka yobedodo ne garden mu yetuaka Sikasema ye kan nyina ne na ketua ya kan nyina no. Eno nka sika ode kɔ hospital ho. Ni sika ni hospital ni bibia ne manum ne anya ne yire mu nyina no. Aban asai afa ho ka. Petrol 1,005 liters. Ya fa ho ka omo anko munim konta no komma me how many gallons? 1,005 liters no ha me no nko ano ye say tua ka. Ansa na ya san ma no car. Mienu a wontwie. Ansa na eye okọ ahomegie mu se opeso okọ ba bi kọ gigi nani kakra wa bre wa ya adwuma bre no okọ a eno so ban fa ho nya ka ye twa business class ma no ni hotel ka ya fa ho ka ni bibia ya sama no 2,000 a day per diem dollars o asade aka ho asade ma no ene $2,000 is 24,000 Ghana cedis eno no gina day eno no gina day eti ni aka ne sese aban ya hwe wo sei na wo sei bu yen ye sidi nanim tiade a ne ye sere omampani ni se na daroma sabe sane na no esi ya eye ye maame sisiga da pa eno kwa no OSP ye hwehwemu dia basa maame no kwa no ne ho dai ne ho son asisika no ono ane dia ono oyobi a waye adwuma amfie duanan ne kunu sika kra de etise mpoano anwea woye architect over 60 years of experience 60 years an international consultant obia ni so oskapa one of the richest architects we have in Ghana na se enei obi akokotu sika no kra no yese anti money laundering act no wafom mra no etino yenyinedi enei or resign ye it is ene sa na no bi ena sa asem ni si ya enei it is only fair say employer ramahama maninsi nchen ni mfa hwehwemu mra because ne atie no kra so mkra yentua omka ene ne omanya sika ayesa dwumadie nyina na ade ba ko a na asefem so dwumadie nyina ho ne se achopa de ye achopa ye pa obi fom a na opo acho a anuafo na mode ache na eno nche se ofom mra na o se wapa acho ni ama ukọ na no A+ ni attorney general baba be ka che se ono de A+ ya ono ni be di efi mu agro na ateche mu agro de na de tete no to ono de obetumi atete ateche de aye no na why na si attorney general na ye peso atete ateche de ye no enuafo mo ha minyini se mo be pese ya attorney general no onware wa ateche mu onware ofin mu ontiti finya ne ho wo hwe constitution medical kan se wo hwe ne dwumadi ne yakase pa ono na ye lawyer ni pani egina ho ma Ghana ban ono na ye lawyer ni pani kase pa egina ho ma Ghana ban na se lawyer ni pani kase ya ka tro se wo wakwa akwaji sika 500,000 adamudie de baba be ma appointment committee parliament se ne be ya obego through parliament. And you see, kona ko sign wuti fa court house there be court na dia obeko atinte hurube ne tua wotunti a wuntimi hwere treasure den nti na wuntimi nko because e bia wo de A+ ko ba ono so be kana sem enti wo se ne wonko nanso no wodi nkofo bi kokoto saa ade akwadu a de bowi se wo ye kronfo wo no keta asehye ne proye adware wo wakwa akwaji sika de abrem na hyebedwefo no wo nso no wodi nkofo bi pese omo de om kokota wo nso na wo se wo charge omo for corruption but one so no yede bibisi ato so yewura Muhammad say one me anya san hwehwemu ye wi ane sisi attorney general anamo a obi adwemu ni say ya attorney general odware atechemu ya attorney general oyekromfo ya attorney general wakwaja demude ya attorney general ena ekono de bia bonsiniti ayekono sa no okọ san say adwen a yedi hu no enti o si etimi sign niti mi hu bi da sa to na no wo beka ya yewura Godfrey da me wo ho ena NDC fokofa tape bi omo akatekate no mo de asisi ani eno mo se yewura Godfrey da me ene jakwa edi nkomo eno kromo friend criminal enanse ya ozi ensamo mo kan no ebia o na wiase de wo ho wo yi ofo nsa no ahwe won nsa no ofo no se nipa won nipa nsa se enti wo yi ofo nsa no ahwe won nsa because ansema na no mo kan yi a mo se gofredame edidi na tem sanse mo se oni obi akokasa no ene ya toni general de ono no yese wo ye kromfo yese wo ye awi yese wo kwakoje adamudie 500,000 Ghana cedis e de bre appointment committee in parliament mutini yo ono no onfa nipa no court no nko sign it o se da bi court den ade obekọ na onko nko se na da je wo me won so de bi court na wote e ho na odidie e ho na woda e ho esi akwa de office utu na ya na wadu high court wo so wontimi fa nipa no nko court na o concentrate on me wa nipa na gu ho fin waka asem atia wo be ka asem so a wo se A+ ni be kire yen ade a oni mu fa NSS mo ono na emba be kire yen Attorney General wona tumi nyina ekura wo Ghana nyira no tumi kura so wona wo de obedi yen se ma ye obe yen na yen konko busa A+ now where from this pension for any as a media trial na ya the media for aba na kan sema enim Attorney General no kwasem ni wagu ne ho fi Attorney General enkasa saa unim wodwumadi e wo constitution ya nyade saa asem nso a ye de ato ne tiri so no onhwe no nsan ne ti yewura mahama asodie kese mienu eda oso ni wa code of conduct a wo de baaye ene emu nsem no ne epie bani ebie ma de ba kwa ya se hu ne se ene NDC baaye o ma ya appointment bebre a o mubu o man no na ya wo omo ano omo ye NDC national officers be regional officers impo even constituency officers ene ya pa omo e wa ban mu na ado danko Akufo-Addo etwa asebi to ho mo be kai 2017 na ado danko Akufo-Addo in consultation with the National Executive Committee of the party e de enhye bi ba se obi bia ya fa wo adwumam e wa ban mu na wo sai kura party de bre no jaito obibia jaito ho eno no ade eboa ne se ema nipa no nya adwempo ema odinani esi adwuma a oye no so no aye ne ye eboa ma amamuo pa edadi etu wahwa enei miame boss oye current general secretary no ya Central Regional Youth Organizer obeye why CEO no resign here and the deputy Bashiru no resign here regional ministers ahodo bebre omba enya honorable architect of blessed memory or resigning from Greater Accra region chairman Amewu resign here honorable Asuma Cheme resign here all over obia resign here me ebra ye elected me as national youth organizer na me deputy executive director NSS awa na resign here and then ye kam yakwa ni say yet the NDC headquarters na wa dabraka no ya peja ne de akwa si Jubilee House and it is dangerous for good governance etiene ofa national youth organizer ono ye minister manenye na djuma on resign ne deputies nyina ba ko NYA Osman Ayarega Ruth ewo NSS omoda so ho Basintali odaso waye yeru akodua wa occupy position ni pen oye ya resigning as a regional youth organizer wa Ashanti region ade no odaso award post yeru omanebo ama odaso director of elections mi wo osaye minister of defense over regions ni ma bebre in fact regional secretary no o northern region on ewo Alhaji Loto on ewo NLA bebre all over Elikem Kotoko Yaira Koku no your IT director and then they call NIA Erika Omunyina no mukuta positions. What we are calling on the president to do is and they would the code of conduct for appointees aba say omunye impartial and it's a conflict of interest biaba etino omo a wapa womo no eye wapa omo a sha omo no resign senya nanado danko Akufo-Addo year 2017 ema omo a wa appoint omo nyina no resign ye no mo so resign no mo focus on governance enti ebe say Ramahama we no boa ɛma Ghana no yɛkɔ yɛnim nti ɛnɛ sɛ yɛfrɛ mo baa na ade titiri nti yɛfrɛ mo baa nyame nhyira mo wobɛsa ate yɛnka bio